Here's a riddle. When is a rule not a rule? I'll give you a minute. Give up? When nobody writes it down. I've seen a dude chuck a baseball at another dude's head on purpose. Then the fucking announcer is like, oh, that guy earned that one. The guy before him broke one of the unwritten rules of baseball. Guess what, asshole? If no one bothered to write it down, it's not a fucking rule now, is it? So yes, let's talk about the unwritten rules. The rules in baseball that aren't really rules, but in baseball serve as some sort of fucked up code of ethics that guys break all the fucking time, only later to be shamed by an old school beat writer on the team in the post-game presser. One of the most comprehensive lists ever compiled of these unwritten rules was published in 1986 by Baseball Digest, and has been taken as baseball gospel ever since. Even though, if you think about it, by writing the list down, they actually fucked up the entire concept of unwritten rules. But the unwritten rules of baseball are a serious matter. Then how come I just fucking read them? And they've been written down and even numbered since 1986. So let's call it what it fucking is. Shaming managers into becoming robots since the beginning of time. But it's not like Baseball Digest just shot this thing out of their ass. They found as many modern players and as many craggy fuck old-timers that they could and compiled this list from what they said. And a lot of these players take this shit seriously. And those who can't follow these fake rules will be perceived as assholes, even though the rules they were breaking aren't really rules at all. However, the entire list wasn't completely negative. In fact, many of these unwritten rules of baseball are more or less just strategic guidelines. Common sense baseball, if you will. Like Rule 8 says, don't steal third with 2 outs. Or Rule 3 says, don't hit and run on an 0-2 count. I mean, yeah, I agree. Those are things that probably should not be done. I'm not going to pretend there aren't good unwritten rules. And there's even some unpractical ones that I kind of like. Kind of like Rule 29. Never mention a no-hitter while it is in progress. Of course, this being one of the rules I like, nobody fucking follows it anymore. Hell, they'll even plaster the on-screen graphic now like assholes. And the fucking announcers are blabbing on about it. Yeah, Tony, no hits on anyone through 7 tonight. Oh, and I spoke too soon, as there goes a double into the gap. First hit of the night for the Rockhounds. And yes, there you go. You done fucked it up. But going even further in here, after a minute of reading these rules, shit starts not adding up. For example, rule number 13 on the list says, never let the score influence the way you manage. Which sounds more like a fucking ancient Chinese proverb than actual baseball advice. So wait a fucking minute. Doesn't Rule 7 say, don't steal when you are well ahead? And Rule 6 says, never steal when you're 2 or more runs down. So why would I fucking steal or not steal based on the score? You just told me not to do that shit. And continuing in that theme, anyone who watched episode 2 of this series will know how dumb I think Rules 23 and 24 are. 23 says, only use your bullpen stopper in late inning situations. And 24 says, don't use your stopper in a tie game only when you are ahead. Didn't you already tell me not to worry about the fucking score? So now you painted me into a corner. So Rule 13, here's an unwritten rule for you. Grow some lips and kiss my ass. You do not belong here. I always let the score influence how I manage. But let's move on and look at rule number 2. Play for the tie at home, go for the victory on the road. How about we go and play for the victory all the fucking time? Isn't that the point of the game in the first fucking place? Play for a tie at home? What the fuck is this, hockey? No dipshit, this is baseball. And ever since someone decided to put light bulbs in ballparks, ties don't fucking exist. Tell someone to play for a tie in baseball is like telling someone to eat a handful of invisible shit when they aren't even hungry. You play to win the game. But it does get worse. Some of these actually have me concerned. Like Rule 21, don't bunt with a power hitter up. Or Rule 27, hit a ball where it is pitched. No shit, Sherlock. You might as well say eat food with mouth. How fucking stupid do you think we are on written rules? So chill with the condescending tone already. But those are pretty much harmless. I mean, how bad can breaking a rule be if your punishment is having to deflect a craggy old sports writer after a game is over? I mean, it's not like you have to hear the announcer blaring on about breaking an unwritten rule, so fuck it, right? The trouble is, there is one of the rules that has a bit more repercussions than the other. Rule 26 might just get a ball thrown at your head. And if one of your players gets knocked down by a pitch, retaliate. Wait, where the fuck did this come from? I mean, almost all this shit on the list is some preachy homage to not having a risky strategy. Rule 26 is trying to start some shit. And Rule 26 is also much more expansive than if a guy gets knocked down. It extends to things like bat flipping, perceived arrogance, perceived showing up of a pitcher, smiling too much, looking like you're having too much fun, any little fucking thing a pitcher might get butthurt about. And then retaliate means throwing at a fucking guy's head. And this dates back to the times before color was invented. It turns out that while the common citizen was still worried about being gentlemanly and shit, the baseball pitchers was like the early incantations of the people on Twitter that only tweet when they have something to fucking disagree with, and then acts like a total dickwad, and suddenly everyone is involved with a fight with him. And within one of the most unlikely non-contact sports, baseball fights can become a fuckstorm. One guy even talks a little shit, and here comes everyone, ready to scrap. It's like watching a fucking battle royal. I mean, a lame one with a lot of jersey grabbing, and that's part of my point. Sit the fuck down and let the guys who are actually pissed settle this. It's almost like having all the assholes coming out there. This sort of waters it down and ruins the actual good fight. I mean, seriously, get out of the fucking way, guys. And I'm not really upset about these fights. I'm more upset about how these things get started. Because most of the time, the guy who fucking started the fight ball rolling isn't even fucking involved in the actual fight. Baseball pitchers must have no way of telling one batter apart from the other. Because more times than not, the sequence is like, what the fuck? It's one thing to hit that home run, but that fucking guy threw his bat in a way I felt was insulting to my skills. Then the next guy comes up, and the pitcher is like, well, I'm so pissed at Chuck, I'm gonna chuck one at Fred's head. Now, what the fuck did Fred do? Then the umpires come out and warn the benches, but all that does is signal that Rule fucking 26 is in effect, and we are half inning from a rumble. So be on point, fuckers. Call the bullpens, too. And sure as shit, the other team's pitcher picks the one of the three of the due-up hitters least likely to kick his ass and chucks one right at his bean. Here, the batter has an important decision to make. At this point, the batter has several different options at his disposal. He can do the fake tough guy act and charge the mound after the catcher is in prime position to stop him. That's probably the most common one used. And everyone still gets to run on the field, and lots of jersey pulling, yelling, and a couple ejections are commonplace. Some guys try to play it cool, depending on whether they got hit in the process. And they will either put on the mad face and trot down the first base, or just angrily get back in the box. This happens too, but usually disappoints the guys in the dugout. They're all standing there saying, oh, fuck, I thought Rule 26 was in effect. But the one that everyone loves the most is the one where the batter is so pissed that he ensures no catcher or ump is fucking this one free shot at the pitcher. But that batter knows that he better get his shots in because the center of the field is about to become a dog pile of every player in both dugouts, all the fucking bullpen guys, the manager, the assistant coaches, the bat boy, the umpires, and hell, even the mascots if they are handy. So, in review, the unwritten rules of baseball. Some are handy, some are oppressive, some are stupid, and some will incite lame riots. But none of them are real, because no one wrote them down. Sincerely, BrownsMemes guy.